It's like a French film without the artistry or depth. We saw Eye of the Beholder, so you know what that means.
Now it's time for How to Discriminate. We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater, cause you know you wonder how to discriminate. Let's wallow in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? I'm your host, Paul Scheer, and today we are talking about Eye of the Beholder, a movie that I didn't know existed until Avril found it for us on this podcast, but a movie that looks so similar to so many other Ashley Judd movies. Honestly, if I was to tell you what this movie was about, I think I would have a hard time. Suffice it to say, we have Ewan McGregor. He is the eye, and he is obsessed with Ashley Judd, who, according to a lot of wikis I read, is called a serial killer. But I wouldn't have made that assumption when watching the movie. But anyway, let's break this all down with my two co-hosts, Jason Mantzoukas and June Diane Raphael. Welcome, Jason and June.
Wow.
Hi.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know you say Avril found this movie, but it genuinely feels like a prank on us. It feels like a series of scenes from other movies cobbled together into like an art piece.
Well, I will tell you, I know this movie. This movie is not a surprise to me. I want to bring on our guest. I'm so excited to talk about it. I have seen this movie before. This was possibly my third time watching.
What?
Whoa.
I'm going to say in 15 years of doing this podcast, this has never happened before.
Where you actually remember a movie, June.
Yes.
You don't even remember the movies we do on this show.
Well, I've said this before, but in the time of Blockbuster, my mom used to send me and my dad or me and my sisters out to Blockbuster for the weekend and say, like, as we were walking out of the house, she'd say, "Get me a thriller." And so
yes.
I was always on the hunt for a thriller. I knew all the 90s thrillers. I've honestly created my whole personality based on the 90s thrillers.
Well, guess what, June? This movie came out in 2000.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
It's
the
a
same.
product
But by
of the
the
90s.
way,
It was written in the 90s. It was
It feels like it should
Made
be
in the
older. When I
90s.
saw
Well,
it come
feels
out,
like it's from the 80s. Like if you
Right.
watch it, it feels. Let's just bring our guest in.
All right,
because
all
we
right,
got to
so-
get into it.
Let's get
here's
to
the
it.
thing. Sometimes I feel guilty about the films that we subject our guests to. To us, I don't care. But this is a
Thanks.
real How Did This Get Made all-star. You've heard him on episodes like Jingle All the Way and Sky Captain and The World of Tomorrow. He is an amazingly talented writer and stand-up comedian. He is now an Emmy Award-winning writer for the TV show Hacks. His new stand-up special, Chill, comes out on December 13th on Hulu. Please welcome back Joe Mande.
Wow.
Joe.
Here we go.
Welcome, Joe.
Joe,
we
welcome.
go.
I mean, again, I feel bad because I was so excited you were coming on here. And this is a movie where I had to stop and rewind multiple times because am I missing what? Wait.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, though, I don't feel badly for Joe. I feel we
No, my life is going great. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I don't feel badly for you. Especially not after that intro. But like, this is a great movie to discuss.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Like, I mean, this is your professionals at this.
Thank you.
Has there ever been a movie you've watched where just based on the title card alone, you're like, oh, this is going to be a rough one?
Well, I was excited because this is the first and only movie I've ever seen that had a cryptogram opening
Yes.
where they used Ewan McGregor's eye as
Eye.
part of, eye, and it was of the beholder.
Absolutely
But,
insane.
a rational person would think the movie is just called Of the Beholder.
Yep.
Right.
Like
Yes.
it's just a zoom in on an eye. Very weird.
A rational person would, upon receiving all of the information in the beginning of the movie, you might think you understand the movie that's going on in front of you. And it is about a man, Ewan McGregor, who I believe is searching for his boss's missing son, predicated entirely on a pair of pants. Correct? Now,
wait a second.
that
Wait. Pause. What are you saying?
So Ewan McGregor's character is some sort of British
MI6.
Yes.
Is he a slow
super
horse?
spy.
Is he a
He's
slow horse?
basically a slow
No.
horse. I wrote so many times that River Cartwright would do a better job he deserves to go to Slough House. But doesn't his boss's son is missing. There's something about him
Yes.
missing. The only evidence that's given is a pair of pants. But instead what we watch
I don't remember a pair of
that's what
pants.
I'm saying. That's what the movie tells me
What
it's about.
pair
But
of
instead,
pants?
Ewan McGregor follows Ashley Judd for, I don't know, the better part of 7 years. I don't know the
Yeah.
time frame of the movie, but he is always wearing the red jacket. I was like, what is this?
Well, you know what, though? I'm so glad you brought up, and we're actually starting with Hugo, who is Ewan McGregor's boss, because, and the timeline of that. So Hugo sets him off on his first big mission, which he happens to see Ashley Judd there. I still couldn't really understand how she was involved.
The socialite's son is gotten into some trouble, and it's sort of like the boss is
But
saying,
that's
hey,
Hugo's son.
right.
Is her first kill Hugo's son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my mind, no.
No, it is. Well, maybe not first kill of her life. I don't
Right.
No. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I mean, what we see as the first kill, not in her history. I
Right.
mean, in
That's
what we see, the tarp.
seduction, the tarp.
tarp.
Yeah.
If someone lays down a tarp in front of you, don't get on it. Just
This
don't
is
get
a
on it.
lesson I learned in Lethal Weapon 2. When you walk into an office and there's tarp on the floor and you've just done a bad job, do not go into that office.
No indoor tarps. You can have some fun. Outdoor tarps are
Absolutely.
slip and
Like,
slide,
'cause
etc.
what could he be thinking? Like, why would she need a tarp out
Piss
there?
play. It's got to be piss play.
Piss play?
The only
I
answer is piss
I
play.
actually take back my stance. I don't want to kink shame.
Yeah, you might be like, you know what? Thank you. That you just saved my rug. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, here's
Wait,
the...
but Paul, let me just say this
Sure.
about Hugo and his son, because that murder, straight up with a knife, like murder, takes place in the opening 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Hugo's son is missing. There's still, Katie Lang says he's still searching for him. Where are you? Where's Hugo? For I think maybe 2 years.
But here's the thing: it doesn't matter because Hugo is also killed during that
in a
time.
car accident with his
Hugo
wife.
is also murdered.
So, well, he's not murdered.
Oh, I think he
He's
is.
killed. No, he's killed in a car accident.
Yeah, but it was purposeful.
Well,
Yeah.
because Ewan
These are all
McGregor...
spies, right?
Yeah, he's an MI6 agent.
Oh.
There's other dealings
Well, it's so
going
hard to
on.
know because there are so many car accidents in this movie.
He's
Yes.
MI6, but Katie Lang works, I think, for a Tea Party Interpol or something.
What is that about?
She is
So
dealing with
strange.
some very advanced FaceTime technology. I mean, every time Ewan McGregor wants to communicate with Katie Lang, he is taking out a full desk setup. It is comically large,
Yeah.
cameras and screens.
He has to carry it around in a gigantic suitcase everywhere he goes.
and
I
he's
mean,
doing it in train stations. Like he's not being subtle about setting up a
He
futuristic
uses
office.
the dial-up function on a '90s airplane at one point to zoom with Katie Lang. She's so mad at him.
Well, here's my question though. What is his title out in the field? Surveillance?
That's what you think. He's some sort of, he feels like Gene Hackman in The Conversation.
Yes.
He's got a sniper rifle, but it's covered
He
in
sure does.
microphone.
But
I know
it's a-
that was actually the first thing we see, other than his eyeball, which we now know he's the eye. It's like a bait and switch for no reason. The first
Yes.
scene is he's aiming a gun at someone through a window, and then instead of pulling the trigger, like we just realized he's listening. It's like, well, you could just get like a normal setup for a microphone.
Right, you don't need
Yeah.
you don't need to have it felt like he's too into his job, like he wants to be an assassin, but he's just an audio guy.
He's an audio assassin. Like he
But
doesn't.
yet he also is an assassin because later on
Yes.
he does with pinpoint accuracy shoot out the tire of a car.
Right. I guess at a certain point, it's like, just imagine you're listening, but instead it's a gun.
Yeah. And I don't want any, the sound engineers out there to take offense to what we're saying. Like, it is a super important job to deal with sound,
Yeah, especially if they're into piss play. We do not want to.
You want to hear every drop. You gotta hear every
Yeah.
drop
But
hit the tarp.
I guess my question is, why does he need to set up such an elaborate camera system whenever he's surveilling anyone? Because when he is trying to find the son, the amount of cameras he has on that house looks like this job seems pretty simple. Like, hey, find out if my son's up to anything. But he has like wired the house. He's wired the hotel. Like he is
and his equipment is enormous.
Yes.
Every time they cut to his little, what they're trying to show us is these miniature cameras that he has set up so he can see all in her apartment or in her hotel room, whatever, are basically like VHS cameras on a like tripod attached to the wall. They're gigantic.
Yeah.
She would see everything. The movie, why is this a movie? What is this story? You think for most of the movie that it's a cat and mouse. He's on her trail. She's the bad guy, but he's falling in love with her over just the viewing of watching her, blah, blah, blah. But then you come to find out in the middle of the movie or later than the middle of the movie, she has no idea he's there. No. She's not aware of his presence whatsoever and doesn't give it a second thought. When the woman at the hotel says, or the apartment says, oh, you know, that your boyfriend who's been following you every single day, who waits outside for you every single day. She's like, doesn't think twice about it. Maybe she thinks it's that cop who she later kills. Maybe it is. But regardless, she does not know he exists. It's like the opposite of Heat. It's a movie in which the two main characters never meet until the very end of the movie, only to have a cryptic conversation over diner coffee.
They don't even
like that
kiss.
scene.
I mean, I guess the thing that's weird is it felt to me like it's trying to be Vertigo on some level, right? Like where like he's caught up with her, but the only thing that he's seen is that she's a killer. Like the first, like, so is he like, I'm so turned on by her that I like am like
No,
he has
I don't
no
know if you
interaction.
guys, maybe I guess you guys didn't hear the line where, you know, he says, I'm a daddy looking for my little girl, and your little girl looking for her daddy.
That was at the end, and that
that's
really
at the
made
end,
me-
but there are breadcrumbs to get us there,
Yes.
which is the Merry Christmas Daddy.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Daddy.
Christmas Daddy, which is repeated throughout, which I was like, God, please let this be the title of the movie. Well, just
one
let
of
this
the
be.
one of the most annoying hallucinations I've ever seen in a movie. Just like, like she's always in the way. Like,
oh, the ghost daughter.
The ghost daughter,
yeah,
kind of like dancing around. He's trying to do survey, like bad kind of hallucination.
Well,
if you're doing surveillance.
in the third act of the movie completely abandons both ghost daughter and he's a surveillance guy, electronic surveillance guy. He just becomes a practical creep who follows her to Alaska and eats in her diner every day and tries to chat her up.
Well, you're right though, because the problem with
Where's his
daughter? The problem with Ghost Daughter, like, yes, Joe, you said, is like she's so fucking annoying that anytime he brings up like, oh, I lost my daughter and this like grief and pain around it, I'm like, you want to get back with that girl?
Yeah.
She's so annoying.
But by the way, he didn't lose his daughter. His wife and daughter left him because he was too obsessed with sound. Or his job. All right. So they leave years ago. And at one point he has that picture and he goes, I think one of these is my daughter, because it seems like I think that this version of his daughter is not even based in reality because she left so long ago. Right?
7 years, though. It's only 7 years. Is he saying he doesn't now remember what she looked like?
That's because I think when he pulls out that picture, he's saying she's one of the girls in this photo.
So weird. Because also he looks like he's 24 years old.
Yes.
And is drop dead gorgeous.
Yes.
Like this guy should be played by Tim Blake Nelson or Paul Giamatti. He stands out so much. He's terrible at following her. He's gorgeous and wearing a bright red coat everywhere. It's terrible.
Well, he's not a spy. He really is just a listener. And all he wants to do is just get some more snow globes for the daughter that he hasn't seen.
Snow globes. Oh my God.
He says it so like matter of factly, like, oh yeah, I always get a snow globe from the snow globe shop at the train station. Like there is a snow globe shop
in every city.
In every city.
In every train
and the
station.
cuts and the snow
the
globe
motif.
edits.
Yeah, those were crazy.
The
directing, I had to look it up because it felt very much informed by, like, I think stylistically they were going for like 12 Monkeys or something.
Right.
Especially with like the goofy kind of steampunk technology he's using, and that like Katie Lang is in kind of like a weird, very stylized office with her like operator ladies with her drinking tea.
It feels like it feels like PG Brian De Palma too. Like it's trying to create this, like it's sexy, but it's not really sexy. But then they also do this thing where, like when he goes to the gas station in the middle of the movie, they make this like weird hard cut on just a weird looking guy like staring in the corner. I'm like, the fuck is this? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand.
I think you're
There were
right.
a lot of those guys, though. There were a lot of guys staring off like they were zombies, and that they were just like absolutely vacant.
But yet we're in a world where we're also juxtaposing that with very fancy, like beautiful train stations, beautiful trains, drinking cognac. You know, it's not like a post-apocalyptic
cognac.
It feels the movie feels like it's based on a book, and that the book included a tremendous amount of interiority, like internal monologue rather, for the character, or maybe multiple characters. Like, and the movie is like, well, we can't have that. So you just are watching people make and do things for reasons that you are not in on.
Well, let me just tell you, you're right.
Person to person to person, I don't know why Ashley Judd is making the moves she's making. And this movie should be a procedural movie in which the police are on the trail of a serial killer and are trying to figure out who done it, or in a procedural fashion, making the case against her and solving the crime. But we don't do that.
Right. It's more of like who cares it.
Yes. This whole movie exists in parallel. This movie exists in parallel, whereas a British secret police agent helps her get away with all of these crimes.
Right. But the question is like, I really don't feel like she is a serial killer, because some of the people she kills, rightly so. Like you have Jason Priestley, which we'll get into in a little bit, shooting her up with heroin, right? Like we have that. We have like another guy like being really like a dick, and like all these guys feel like very rapey. And then it seems like self-defense. The cop is like really like getting up in her face. The only person that is nice to her, she's not going to kill. And then Ewan McGregor kills him. Yeah. So I'm like, is she a serial killer, or is she just a woman that you've caught in this?
She's just a woman trying to survive the
She's just kind of picky, and then she found the love of her life.
A blind man.
The original, like, why are we introduced to her? Like, I get it that Ewan McGregor he falls for her in a femme fatale kind of way, but why?
Because he's trying to track down what the son is up to, Hugo's son. So the first person killed is Hugo's son. But we don't know why she kills him. That's what I'm sorry. What I'm saying is we don't know her motivation. Like she just going there
to him premeditated murder style.
Like I think what we're to believe is Ewan McGregor go there and say, "Oh, I watched him that night. He's having sex with this woman. He did some coke, X, Y, and Z." And then that would be next mission. Go on to your next mission.
I found good news. I found him. Your son's not missing. He's blah, blah, blah. Okay, got it. But she kills him and we never know why.
She doesn't explain anything. He doesn't ever connect with her. And then he's just chasing her for no reason. Like, because he doesn't report in when he tells like the people at home, like, or the Katie Lang, like, oh, I haven't found him. Like, so because he's like aiding and abetting her in a way, I guess.
Oh yeah, he's got blood on his hands for sure. Yeah.
Also, after she kills the first guy, the tarp guy, there's like a kind of almost Mr. Bean like section where he's like slipping around trying to get his camera.
Oh yeah.
And he drops the camera. So then I was wondering, is he like, I was confused there too, because I was like, is he following her because he like lost the footage of the first murder, so he needs video proof of yet another murder? But then that was like, that's clearly not what's going on.
He's always running after those cameras in a very willy-nilly way, even in the hotel room when she kills the cop. He's like, oh shit. He's
in a way that you're like, he's a law enforcement officer. He must be trying to gather evidence to make the case.
It also seems like he's always running through the crime scenes.
Yes. Oh, big time. Leaving in the year 2000, leaving a tremendous amount of fingerprint and blood and DNA evidence wherever he goes.
Maybe that's why he doesn't report her, because he's just like, my stuff's all over there.
Yeah, but also, who knows if it's the year 2000, because it seems to exist in a different time.
And didn't he say too that she like burned off her fingerprints?
He did.
So that to me tells me she is some sort of assassin. these are not crimes of passion, I don't think. These are premeditated murders for some reason.
Well, not the one on the train. The one on the train.
Sorry, no, that's different.
The guy who just approaches her and is a little forward, but I would argue he was at least, he's like, hey, can I flirt with you?
He's a horny train guy.
Yeah, horny train guy. And Ashley Judd is kind of entertaining him. And then the way that she kills him, or it's revealed, seems so improbable. She makes an aquarium out of a bathroom to drown this man.
Out of a train shower stall, she creates a volume of water inside that allows him to swim freely like a manatee in the aquarium.
So
it's
not
so
only
crazy.
do you have to fill the room up with water, but then seal the door.
Yep.
Yeah, how does she get out?
I've been in trailers. I've been in all the, like, water is not easy to come by in a moving vehicle because you take a limited supply, right? Like it's not, you're not hooked up to it. So the amount of water that she has and the fact that there's very little leakage there. I mean, somebody would have noticed there's an issue. Like, oh, wow, we've just run out of all of our water on this train. Every ounce of it.
It does feel like I would also have believed if there was a scene at a certain point where Ewan McGregor is debriefed and they're like, actually, every single one of these people she intended to kill. She was on that train to kill that man. You know, she was in that location to befriend the blind man. Every movement of hers, like, I feel like there's a thing where they are both spies. They are both expert level spies, and that's why he's been tasked to follow her or whatever. But no, I don't think so. But I was trying to make sense of it because these number of random things are crazy.
But I don't think the three of you understand what it is to be a beautiful woman in the world.
Okay.
Just trying to make your way.
Tell us.
Just trying to stay alive and live. Honestly, just trying to live.
Sure.
You know?
With your tarp and your giant knife.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of us don't have a choice because we are just trying to survive and handle men. And that's why the only man she ever feels safe with is blind. Because when you're as beautiful as Ashley Judd, and I can honestly relate.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You
I related to this character quite a bit. Like you have no choice but to
murder.
Yes.
But to murder because and we learn the most about her when Ewan McGregor goes to the home for juvenile girls,
which is like a Femme Nikita style.
I love that place. I wish the whole movie was there.
Me too.
I do too. I wanted to
fascinating.
understand this again. The movie kept giving me teases of a world that is not unlike the John Wick world, where the Katie Lang operators are assigning the hits, and there's a school to train the young ballerina assassins. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
Jane.
but that main head marm in charge,
Genevieve Bujold.
Yes, she says something along the lines of like, you gotta kill the motherfuckers. Something like out of character for who she seems to be. And there's something about that. There's something about her arming these young women to be. And by the way, why did Ewan McGregor ask her if she was ever sexually
what
molested?
a creep.
That was so fucking crazy. But there's something, again, it's not explained to us, but there was something about her arming young women, making sure their hair is not shown, making sure they're not like really, that nobody really sees who they are, which is why I think she, feels safe with a blind man. But there's something there. Because the only other explanation, if she hasn't been trained to behave this way and to, be a gorgeous woman in the world and to like go on the offense when your, body and looks are constantly being perceived and consumed by, I will say, lecherous men across the board. I don't think there's a man in this movie, with the exception of the blind man. And I include Ewan McGregor in the category of all the other men.
Oh yeah,
he is not absolutely disgusing and
he's
creepy.
A professional.
He's getting paid for it.
A professional. I was saying he has made stalking his job, but even creepier. And what I really think is uncomfortable about the relationship is he is attracted to her and yet also viewing her as his daughter. Like in the sense of, I must save this young girl, which makes it even more complicated, which your point, it's like it should be an older man or something.
Yes. For a little while, I was like, does he think this is his daughter grown up?
I thought that too. But then I was like, she seems older than him.
She's too old for it, but I was desperately, and this is just to the point of the movie is so cryptic and bizarre that I was constantly trying to overlay a plot onto it that I could then get on board for, because I was like, I don't understand. If I don't understand why anybody's making the choices they're making, then I don't understand what this movie is showing me or what this movie is about.
Could that be deliberate? I mean, could that be confusing to the point where the movie itself is in the eye of the beholder?
Yeah.
you just have to make it up yourself.
It's our eye. That's
what's the Joe Esterhaus, Billy Baldwin, creepy
Sliver
cameras movie? Is that
yeah,
Sliver?
That's Sliver.
Yeah, Sliver.
Well, because here's what's really weird. She does say later on in the diner scene that she goes over like all of the loss she's experienced in her life. Her dad, this man, the baby, which, by the way, I really do. And I know this is a sensitive subject that we're all about to vote on, but I really do want to go over how pregnant she was and how that baby was alive for 15 days, which I believe is what it says on the gravestone that Ashley Judd and the nurse from the hospital go to.
Oh, right. I forgot about that scene
so
too.
It says the baby was alive for 15 days. Now, Ashley Judd is not showing any signs of being pregnant.
No. I mean, again, we don't...
Unless she was in a coma for many weeks, there's no chance that baby survived outside the womb.
But the movie is not trying to help us understand the passage of time at all.
Well, to me, I think to me the grave, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Well, here to me is when you're talking about timelines in this movie, this is where I'm most confused. At the end of the movie, when he follows her to Alaska and when she's changed her whole identity, which again,
all we know about Alaska is that she steals a car in seemingly Death Valley, and another like full freak show man just says she headed north.
Yes.
He's like, I guess north is Alaska.
The end of I think they say at one point the end of the world. So he goes to Alaska, and this is the line that got me. You see Ewan McGregor at that diner. Now she's changed her full identity, and he's doing his order to Ashley Judd, and he's interrupted by the head waitress who's like, "Oh, this guy, he always gets scrambled eggs and herbs." And then Ashley Judd's like, "Are you a regular here?" And he's like, "Yeah, for a couple of weeks." "How long have you worked here?" "So you're telling me that?" And she's like, "A couple of months." So he's been there for a couple of weeks. Yeah. She's been there for a couple of months, but yet they've never crossed paths.
He just keeps picking the wrong shift. Yeah.
I was like, but yet he eats there every day. And that restaurant is so bizarre where the waitress is like, sorry, Smitty. You McGregor, I got to fill your table with randos because I'm overrun today. And then those randos happen to be, I guess, MI6 because
no, they are, I believe, federal American agents who are after her
Interpol.
For the murders.
Okay, Interpol.
They have American accents.
Who look at Ashley Judd, who looks nothing different. She just looks like Ashley Judd without makeup, and goes, that's probably not her.
Well, they're like trying
what?
to prosecute a case like it's the 1960s, but we know because of Ewan McGregor that we have technology. They must have a million pictures of her. They must have. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have one strand of her pubic hair, though.
Which don't.
Is how Ewan McGregor found her.
Yep. And it's a shorty.
Okay.
It's really short.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Here's my question. When he went into that tub and pulled out that pubic hair, I said no out loud. No. Full chested. No. But my question about that, the how we find her in Alaska is the entire movie, she's sort of in these disguises, in her wigs, various different wigs, which I loved. I loved her outfits. I love the wigs.
She looks great.
I loved all of that. She is so beautiful. I love watching her.
Oh, she's making Ethan Hunt look like a fucking Austin Powers.
Yeah. But I didn't know at the end when those glasses are on, her hair looks super stringy. Like, are we being told by the movie, and I know Joe's going to say it's just simply in the eye of the beholder, but are we being told that, like, this is her now without any of the artifice? Like, she is
this is how she always was. So,
Oh, interesting.
Or is she in hiding?
I think she just feels safe in hiding here. That's why she's not wearing a wig but she is wearing her fur coat in Alaska. She is like, there is still, but so much so that when the police first come and see her, they're like, do we know it's her? We don't know. So then they come next time, some weeks later, with Genevieve Bujold, her school house mother who comes from Boston to help them identify the now adult Joanne
her dojo master.
What the fuck is this?
Which she doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't give her up.
But she does excrete a single tear, which if I'm a good police officer, I'm like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Clearly she's hiding something, but I don't know why they brought that. I mean, again, I guess they're trying to pin some murders on her, which is, I guess, the right thing to do. But then, I mean, at this point, just let her serve grub up there in Alaska. She's not hurting anybody.
She's at the end of the world. She went north.
There's nothing there. But when she tells her story about why she is what she is, she says a line. I wrote it down. She's talking about her and her dad. She goes, "We roam the street like a couple of homeless people."
Yep.
They're not homeless, but they seem to be very homeless.
Well, no, I think they are. They are, because she says that she knows that they're going to spend Christmas night in the alley behind a shoe store.
Right. So then, right.
But then she comes back and he's gone.
So he leaves her.
Abandons her on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, Daddy.
And
right.
Merry Christmas, Daddy. And so she leaves, and that's when she decides to kill all men. But the question about that is, you would think, okay, she's going to kill bad dads,
Santa Claus,
Father Christmas, baby New Year, any of these things. So she's against men, even though it seems like people are helping her survive on the street. Like when she goes to the back door of that place and they give her a full ham, because she's like, she also says in that flashback, I wanted to get him something special. So she's concocted a deal with the back door of the deli.
Yeah.
When she is telling her story, she's telling in Alaska that when they finally have their meet cute at the very end of the movie, they finally meet and have a conversation where they don't barely do any exposition, which we've been begging for, but none. She also is basically like, starts to cry and be like, I used to have a guardian angel. I lost my guardian angel.
Yeah, that's him.
And she has been so smart throughout this movie that for her to not be able to ascertain that he is out of place, a British man in Alaska claiming to be a real estate salesman, that's not setting off warning bells for her is truly shocking. It makes no sense at all. In fact, it makes me feel like she's dumber than we have thought, because she has seemed to be one step ahead of everybody this whole time. She's gotten away with so many murders all over the United States.
And then she kills him because that's what she's going to do. But he already knows. But he's also like goading her. Like he's setting up a room. Like he brings her back to his trailer, which is very beautifully decked out. It feels like a trailer that you might bring to like Burning Man. There's a lot of, like it looks very, there's a lot of snow globes.
So, oh my God.
Which then makes you wonder, it's also like he's been following her seemingly with a U-Haul van full of snow globes. Like you can't.
Well, he's got set up in Alaska with an Airstream trailer. He hired a guy to come in and build snow globe shelves.
Yeah.
And then when she finally kills him, but he knows he's going to get killed by her, so he's able to put blanks in the gun. Then they get into a car race, and then he kills her. Then he kills her.
Another car accident.
Another car accident.
But
then he seems upset that he's killed her, and he's pulling her out of the car, and she looks at him and she says, I wish you love.
I wish you love.
Now, I've watched the deleted scenes, and I can't remember if this is in the actual movie, but in the deleted scene, it does say, I remember you.
Yes.
You took my picture.
You took my picture in the mall.
So it's like, huh.
She has a flashback to remembering all of the moments where they shared the same space in the train when he passes her the cognac. She has a Kaiser Soze-esque, it all snaps into place for her, but to what end? She never finds out he's MI5. It's never explained what he's been doing. It's never explained what she's been doing. We never find out what has been going on for either of these people. This movie is bizarre.
The final scene, it's the deleted scene that I watched. It cuts from that I Wish You Love back to the middle of the desert, Death Valley again.
Oh yeah.
And he is in a small graveyard where he is burying her body.
Oh, God.
And he looks over and there's a young girl in front of another gravestone. And he goes up to her and he goes, I'm sorry, girl. Where are you from? And she said, oh, I'm Lucy. My mom died. And he's like,
oh, no.
Come with me. And
What?
he puts out his hand and then she puts her hand in his hand and then they walk off.
Wow.
So
Is it the same actor who played his daughter in the Ghost?
No.
Okay.
Just the same name. So he finally gets his daughter in the end, but seemingly just kidnaps a girl who's mourning her mother.
A graveyard girl. Yeah.
Just collecting grief orphans. What are we talking about here? This is absolute insanity. He's a villain. He kills the blind man. He's a jealous, bizarre psychopath. Two of them are both like craven murderers. I just don't understand in service of what. He doesn't seem to be operating anymore, obviously, from an intelligence gathering.
Well, MI6 is like, he can't be cashing checks anymore. MI6 must be like, you haven't found this guy by this time? Like, he's fired.
He's testing Katie Lang's patience for 2 acts because she's like, you got to come back. And then we skip ahead seemingly years.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still following the case, but it's unclear if he's still getting checks or what.
Here's my question, and this is, I think, for everybody, but for June especially, because I understand the relaxing nature of a hot bath at the end of a brutally difficult day. And Ashley Judd takes a number of baths in this. One of which she takes appears to be in a bathtub that's in the back of a Death Valley automotive repair station.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Well, if you see a tub, you got to use it.
Tub? Is that a tub that you would use? It seemed like.
I mean, Paul knows this, but I do. I've been in questionable tubs.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I like to clean them first. Obviously, like I'll clean the tub, but I don't like to stay in a hotel room if it doesn't have a tub.
Got it. Okay.
And I'm actually hoping and trusting and believing in my heart of hearts that not many people are using that tub, which always makes me feel a little bit better.
Okay, hotels, but what about like a Pep Boys?
Yeah. What about
I might draw the line there.
What about a tub in an old Sunoco in Death Valley?
By the way, I know someone, I won't name her name, but I know someone who exclusively takes baths.
Okay.
Wow.
So wherever they are, it's going to be a bath?
Well, I just mean she doesn't take showers.
I see.
Which is like, I will say, is very disgusting.
Yeah. You're telling me this person doesn't shower after the bath?
No, that's what I'm telling you.
Oh, that's disgusting.
She exclusively takes baths.
You're just marinating in your filth and then not washing it off? No, thank you.
I have asked her about it, and
do I know this person?
How do you wash? You do. And I said, how do you wash your hair after you get like shampoo and stuff in it? Like, how do you rinse? And she does use the nozzle, but then she said sometimes if I'm running out of time, though, I'll just lean back.
Oh,
wow!
I will say
I don't like it. I'm on record. I don't like it.
That's the thing. I don't think is baths should be used to clean yourself.
That's a relaxing. Well, but what about like getting turned on? If you're like on the other side of a wall and you're listening to a person in a bath that's it's already been drawn. He's just listening to her body
in his own
splash
bath.
Around.
Yeah, he's in his own bath. Listening.
Was he in the bath? No, he was in a dry.
He was in the bath.
He was
in the
tub.
It's empty, but he's in the tub.
He's kind of humping the side of the tub facing her wall. Yeah.
It is really funny because I've said this to Paul before, who never takes baths. And I'm always like, get in the bath, get in the bath. He never wants to get in the bath. And I'm like,
I'll take an ice
bathing,
plunge.
especially in movies, is an exclusively feminine experience
Yes.
in a tub. Like, you
Yep.
won't see a man take a bath.
The only way men feel comfortable getting into a tub on film is if the tub is outside and full of ice.
Full of ice, yeah.
So that
Yeah.
they can impress upon you how brutal this is and how much they are withstanding the cold.
In fact, can you pull up the clip of Joe Rogan with his like 4-inch nipples, just breathing like an ape?
Paul, do you want to speak about that? Do you want to speak about you're a man who takes ice plunges?
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing it for a year and a half, and I love it. And it's changed my life. But now I'm not going to, I'm not going to recommend it to everybody, but it is changed my life. Now
But that's how you are turning yourself into a Sigma male. You
finally.
are the
And Paul, how are you rinsing your hair after these?
Here's what I will say that I realized very early on with the ice bath. I take a full shower and clean myself, and then I go into the ice. The ice bath
interesting.
is the final shot. Like this, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Is that
coming in.
because you're not meant to like heat your body up after the ice bath in like a hot
Yes,
shower
no,
or
yeah, you're
something?
supposed, yeah. But also,
okay.
it's like I didn't want to go in there dirt. I was like, I don't understand. Like I didn't want to go in there like sweaty and gross. I'm going in clean, and then
Sure.
it stays clean, and it's a much better
Right.
experience all around. I wanted to ask you a question, June, because we've talked about this in the past, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but Ashley Judd in 2000 is wearing a lot of slips. I know we've talked about it here before. I mean, is a lot of slips. I mean, she's
Yeah.
almost exclusively in slips in this movie.
Because we have to remember, for some time in the 80s and 90s until the 2000s, like the idea of being able to see through a woman's skirt was so upsetting to our culture. And I was in slips as a child. We were all in slips. We had to wear slips. It was another layer that had to go under your dress, had to go under your skirt. Then something happened in like the thrillers where these slips that to me were so matronly and so like uncomfortable, slips became sexy.
Sure.
So then it was like, oh no, like slips are, to see a woman in like a slip and a bra is like, it's a very sexy look.
Oh yeah, and then it became like fashion in that like there were slip dresses and things
now
that were
and now they're very much so back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, now we're in a period where it's gone beyond we're wearing slips out. Now it's like we're wearing nothing. People are like, there are people on the runway that are wearing like what looks like just like a nude bodysuit.
Yeah.
You know?
And you've been very upset about that, and you've
I love
spoken
it.
about it.
I'm upset that it's taken this long.
It is very shocking though that the really nude, like skin colored pieces.
Well,
they're
now
very shocking to see.
the other part of this too that I'm just putting together as we're talking about it. We meet her in some lake house. Then she gets on some train and she's going to Chicago, right? And then in Chicago though, she's got a full life because that cop has business with her.
Okay, can I say something, Paul?
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments of this film was when the cop says he wants her for some sort of, for leaving the scene of a crime in Salt Lake City, whatever he says he's there for. And he says, what are you doing in Chicago? And she says, this isn't a direct quote, but I believe she says, I make wigs and I'm here drumming up business.
Yeah, basically, yes.
And I know she said drumming up business. And I cannot tell you how obsessed I am. Well, first of all, was she actually doing that? Does she make wigs? Was that a cover? She's paying her rent somehow.
She seems to have like a wholesale connection to wigs. Like she's got
Joe,
wigs.
but how do you drum up wig
I don't think she's
making-
selling wigs. I think that's her cover. Again, I kept thinking like this movie is she has a cover and her cover is she's a wig seller, but I don't think she
then
is.
if she's not a wig seller, then her job is just killing men
Just
randomly all around the country.
Itinerant killer of creeps, or like based on not like just like she goes to a city and is like they'll find me. The people that need to die, guess what? They're gonna find me. So I'll just wait.
Unless they're blind.
Unless
And then
they're
I will consider that person my life partner and give up my entire seemingly job to be a murderer.
Just to be like, it seems to be, and not look, I don't want to make aspersions on it, but it seems to be like a housewife. That would, she
becomes a trad wife. She becomes a trad wife.
She doesn't. She has a thriving business.
She's got a
where
wig.
she's an astrologer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can
we talk about the astrology now, please?
Yeah.
It is baked
By the way, if
heavily
you've not
in.
seen this movie, you are like every detail. I'm like, right? Oh my god!
I completely forgot the astrology.
The astrology
forgot
part
about
is
the astrology
essential
story.
to the movie while simultaneously being completely inessential. It is mentioned in every scene, but it doesn't help us understand the characters whatsoever.
Because she's a Pisces.
Yes, which she talks about constantly.
And you know what? She is such a Pisces. Can I just say that?
And so he does open up for her an astrology store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
what exactly she's selling there?
Yes.
I couldn't tell you what the goods, what the products are, because I don't think she's
Wigs.
selling
Different
wigs.
astrological wigs. Like you wear this when the moon is in your.
She reads you your wig chart.
I'm getting a message from beyond. It's a blonde wig.
Ewan McGregor successfully gets her to wear a microphone on her body constantly by giving her a Pisces pendant, right? You would think
I
having
forgot
access to
about
that microphone would let us understand everything subsequent in the movie because we now have audio on everything.
I also have to say this.
Doesn't help us at all.
As all of us have acted in many a thing.
So many.
A microphone doesn't even last with a battery pack on your body for more than 4 hours. And that's when you have a power source attached to it.
Right,
This woman has been wearing this for, again, conservatively 7 years, and it's still cracking. Like,
Well, yeah. So, but here's the thing. It's like she does lose her religion at one point, and I think it's after the blind man dies in the car accident, where she says, "I'm not into astrology anymore." Because here's where it does sort of become relevant. Is I think he's kind of tracking her move and maybe figured out that she was in Alaska because he's still reading her horoscope.
And you think that the horoscope is pointing him towards her?
I think the horoscope is saying things like "go as far as you can,
maybe
go," and whatever. And he's
This reminds me of that movie we did, The January Man, that was also like a murder serial killer thriller that also had a component that was like the months of the year and blah blah, and it also didn't add up to anything. Like I felt like this was a movie about two assassins or spies or something like that, except that we were following the wrong people. Like I didn't feel like that we were following the people who were important to the story.
Right. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then you find out like 2 hours in, it's like, oh, these were not the right Smiths. We were supposed to follow.
we made the mistake. The movie is like the camera's like, oh wait, shit, we followed the wrong person.
Eye of the beholder.
I did look up online. Pisces only make up 9% of serial killers, so not that high. And one of their toxic...
What's the number one? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
One of their toxic traits is escaping out of reality. So that seems about right.
Okay.
I will look at who makes up the...
I'm a Pisces, just gotta say.
Oh, Mandy.
So I'm out.
Oh, but guess what? But here it is. Pisces makes up the highest percentage of serial killers. I guess that's 9%. Followed by
at 9%?
Yeah. Followed by Scorpio, Sagittarius,
Scorpio.
and Gemini. But Pisces is always number one.
So Pisces is number one, and Scorpio. And what are you guys?
Let me just say the numbers are gonna go up. I'm not gonna.
Paul and June, what are you guys?
Well,
I'm
Aquarius.
a Capricorn sun, but a Scorpio rising and a Leo moon. And I have to say to everyone listening, the sun signs mean very little. So I could say I'm a Capricorn because I was born in January, but like what I really am is a Scorpio.
I do think the sun signs help with wig determination.
Well, no,
that's true.
Now,
yes, they do. The sun sign is all about how the world perceives you, but often your rising sign is like, how do you feel internally?
I would have loved it if we understood her character through every wig. How it
that-
changed who she
she
was.
changes
what it
her
meant
as-
to be. What does it mean to be a brunette in San Francisco, but a
Right.
blonde in Chicago? What is
Listen,
that?
That's why I was
Chicago
obsessed
10.
with the last look, because I was like, if she pulls off that ratty Alaska hair and it turns out to be a wig, then like
wow.
she is the best wig maker
Yes.
in the world.
And maybe she's
Yes.
up there
Can
drumming
I
up
admit
business.
to something?
Yeah.
I actually I have a real disability for I have wig blindness.
Oh,
And
Okay.
it's something
I'm so
that
sorry.
my coworkers and my wife ridicule me about to no end, but like legit until she put on her like third wig, like I literally can't tell if an actress is wearing a wig.
Joe,
And
I am
Paul
right with
has
you.
this about fake boobs, so
I have it about boobs and
understand.
wigs.
Oh,
boobs and
wow.
wigs. I can't tell.
Yeah,
I just take people at face value.
I'm locked in. I get it. I see it.
too.
I see it all.
Joe,
That's
would
all
you
I can
would
see.
you say, because this is I'm reading more about the Pisces and serial killing. They said that they make up a good serial killer because Pisces are sweet, but when they get taken advantage of and pushed, then they snap. Not that they have to kill, but do you
That's
feel like
interesting.
do
Does
you
that
I
resonate,
think that's
Joe?
like a very accurate description of me. Yeah.
You know what's
Yeah.
interesting now that we're talking about it? It's also strange that the January Man is also a month and astrological sign based serial killer. Like these movies have an odd similarity for both being meandering and nonsensical.
I guess like the thing that I really wish this movie was, and maybe we've circled it a few times, but is like he should have just been following a serial killer. He should have been
Yes.
one of the cops, and those
Yes.
other two guys that were also chasing. They should have all been working together. He could have been working against them, but instead they convolute it, and we don't ever hear them say she is a serial killer. Like,
but here's
a
what I'm
good
even more.
movie-
Yes. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
but like I
Please.
think a good movie would be a cop following a serial killer or female or whatever he's attracted
Yeah.
to and becomes sympathetic and sort
Doesn't
of
wanna turn
abets
around.
the crime.
Yes. So yes, Stockholm syndrome
Yeah.
over the
Well,
course of
that's-
the movie, where
we-
by watching her, he starts to like fall in love with her or become sympathetic to her or
Right.
is such a like let us watch him descend into this
He
while
starts helping, like greasing the tracks for
Yes.
her, like
Yes.
making things easier
Yes.
for her.
this is
Yeah.
that movie Jade that we did with David Caruso, where he like
oh, Jay.
yeah, another one of these thrillers. But this one kind of misses it up because I would also argue this. Not that I'm all. It doesn't have enough sex nor violence. It kind of is just the creepy in between. Like I could see that. Like it's like you're there. It's not titillating on either side of it. It just kind of feels like the boring stuff of these movies.
well,
right?
this is a not erotic thriller.
Yeah.
The only sex scene we see is between the boss and the woman in his first mission, the cold open,
Yeah.
essentially, where he
Yeah.
records them fucking at the office and then posts it to everybody's computer or whatever.
I forgot about that,
good.
yeah.
That's how good he is as a hacker. Again, Ewan McGregor is a hacker in
But
this
why
movie.
was he
He's just
doing-
tech?
But why was he also doing that?
Well, that's what they told him.
That
So
was
that's
the
what
mission.
Hugo told him to do.
Well, I will tell you this. We're going to get to second opinions in 1 second, but I have never done this before. I went
Never?
to dove.org, which is the faith and family focused reviews for today's media, to see what they had to say about this movie. And they write a review. It's not Dove approved. It's not a Dove approved film, but they call it a unpredictable, darkly humored thriller. So they're seeing humor in it. But what they say is bad about this movie because the eye of the beholder makes a statement about how someone can become psychologically unsound by shutting himself off from society and filling his existence with nothing but high-tech gadgets. So,
Okay.
Well, there is a narrative under here somewhere about the fear of technology, because at one point, I don't know if anyone noticed that Katie Lang's on FaceTime with her mother,
oh, right.
who's telling her not to come home for Thanksgiving because they can just email or FaceTime. Her mom, her sweet elderly mom, is saying this. So it does seem like people are getting out of control.
Well, it seems like it also feels like some sort of future state.
Yes.
It feels like it's trying to be like not just relevant for the moment, but looking forward to a time when you can just jump on a video call and blah, blah, like almost like it's enemy of the state, or it's some sort of like we're just a few
For sure.
years because they're using jargon too. She keeps saying things like you're online. You're like they're using terminology that is new, like internet speak. quick, in a way to help the audience understand what the fuck they're watching.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, all he wants to do is find love or reconnect with his daughter. And I feel like if he's so good at finding people, why
has he not been able to find his daughter?
Why not?
Who's alive?
Yeah,
right.
Who's, as far as we know, very much so. I have questions there.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have questions about all of it. Why not? He can do everything, so why not apply your skill set to your daughter?
Yeah.
And I've never done this before, but I just went on dove.com, which is a soap website, and they have a body wash, a seasonal body wash called cinnamon pumpkin pie.
Okay.
And a slice of cinnamon pumpkin pie now in a body wash, mouth-watering scent of sweet cinnamon spice and buttery pumpkin notes.
Oh,
okay.
I don't want anybody crawling into bed with me smelling like a pumpkin pie.
No.
Well,
When I get into a bath or a shower or an ice plunge, I want my mouth to be water.
Oh, and now the new Dove soap, it's a strawberry shortcake fribble from Friendlies.
Now I'm upset. All right. Obviously, we had opinions about this movie, but there are people out there with a different opinion. It is now time for second opinions.
Don't trust the mainstream for information. Don't trust Grammarly for punctuation. Don't trust a surgeon to make incisions. Check out Amazon user reviews. Get a second opinion. Second opinions. Second opinions.
Thank you, Ben Lee. A new second opinion song there. Second time we've played that. All right. Eye of the Beholder has a lot of 5-star reviews on Amazon. As a matter of fact, 43% of the reviews out of 434 reviews are 5-star. And I just wanted to get into it because these are interesting across the board. I had to really figure out which ones to read because every one of them got me. This one is titled Gutsy and Creative by Gary Dallas. This is perhaps the least formulaic movie you will ever see. It's also an extremely difficult story to tell because both of the two leading characters suffer from mental illnesses, and both characters behave very badly. Viewers give movies low ratings when they don't get what they wanted from watching the movies. In this case, the two famous and beautiful actors never kiss each other. Furthermore, they don't even talk to each other until the final scenes. That's gotta be disappointing for a lot of viewers. However, it does not make this a bad movie. You should know that watching it in advance that this is a story about a serial killer. 5 stars. I do like that both characters suffer from mental illness. So that is why the movie is hard
I
to.
think that's true.
Yeah, it's hard to parse. There's no reliable narrator in it. Essentially,
Also, he's not wrong. But it's the least formulaic movie you've ever seen. There's no formula.
There's no plot.
Nothing's going on. Yeah.
QWERTY titled this "What's Not to Like?" One of my top 5. This was written in 2022.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Quirky, atmospheric, and surreal. So what's not to like? The ensemble cast, quote unquote, got it. And a subtle nod to Orson Welles makes this a landmark noir film. In my estimation, Miss Judd was superlative and deserved an Oscar. But the Academy doesn't recognize groundbreaking films until years after they're made.
Oh my God.
Great filmmaking. So
wow.
I find that a lot of people are making a lot of appeals to Ashley Judd as if she's going through the Amazon reviews and being like, maybe I should date this person. I feel like a lot of it, she's so beautiful. She's so gorgeous. This one is from Jeff H. And he writes, I didn't like the murdering part, but that could just be a way of ending a relationship.
The ultimate way.
5 stars.
I like that this person thinks this is a movie about relationships.
I just like that's like, well, I get it. I mean, on some level, I get it. It's just about, she's a hard time ending relationships. Joseph Kenny writes this. The movie kept me on the edge of my seat, partly because I can imagine Judd as a serial killer in real life. 5 stars.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
She has been in so many more movies that are better versions of this movie.
Yes.
That to like this movie is because you're saying you like her feels nuts to me. I'm like, just watch any of those other
watch
movies.
Double Jeopardy, Kiss the Girls. whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, I think, from Warren just kind of sums it all up. The title is Couldn't Stop Watching. It caught me from the beginning. The visuals, the song. The magician,
song?
I don't know. The magician's wand in the hands of a director and camera, unusually captivating, and I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why I like
Can't
it.
tell you why, but I am writing this and posting it.
Wait,
In
will you read the
2020.
magician's wand line again?
The magician's wand in the hands of the director and camera, unusual
Whoa.
captivating. It's like the director is a magician using his
Yeah.
wand.
Mhm.
But I can't tell you why, because I've been captivated. I will tell you this, Jason, you were right. It was based on a book, Mark Beam's novel, Eye of the Beholder. It was a remake of a Claude Miller film from 1983 called Deadly Circuit. Now, the original book was optioned by producer Philip Jordan for a film starring Charlton Heston. He said no. But the book is about a detective character who has no name and is much older and less successful than Ewan McGregor. And the plot takes place over a much longer time span. And in the book version, crucially, there is no explanation of the heroine's murderous activities.
So this is staying true, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they figured why wreck a good thing. So that is really it. The director did not want Ashley Judd. He wanted it to be a much older woman. But Ashley Judd campaigned for this part. She begged for this part, and he relented. He let her in. So there we go.
And I mean, you are watching two very compelling actors. I
Yes.
think
Actually, we didn't mention, but Jason Priestley
Oh, yes.
stole the
Terrific.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's
yes.
so good in this
He's
limited role.
unrecognizable.
Yeah.
He
It's great
comes
that-
in great as it's a fun part, and it's sleazy, but also like he's not
Menacing.
scenery. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie is essentially a cobbled together series of vignettes where Ashley Judd goes to a place, settles into a life, murders a creep, moves on, and Ewan McGregor is always following her. So it's basically a series of Ashley Judd and another person, a creep, in this case like Jason Priestley. And that section is dynamite. But you're also just cutting back to Ewan McGregor always alone. And what a weird movie to be following one of the main characters who has nobody but his ghost daughter to bounce off of. You know, like when his ghost daughter is there, clickety-clacking all the 1930s noisemakers and jumping rope. I was like, what is this? Why?
What you're describing are a series of sort of contained, almost snow globes. You can see that Ewan McGregor's watching from the
It's so
outside.
true.
There is a moment in one of the deleted scenes, another deleted scene where his daughter comes up to Ewan McGregor and says, "You must follow her. You must, wherever she goes." Like, she's giving him permission. And then what happens is the camera pulls out, and it's not a joke. And then he's in a snow globe. And then a harsh cut to Chicago. That is a deleted scene that is in there. I was like, how could I play it? But you can't see it. It's like, so he is also living in this snow globe life, and maybe.
So do we think this movie lives in the world that Saint Elsewhere lives in, where all of Saint Elsewhere was in a snow globe inside of the mind of the
the autistic,
character? Yes.
I do think it's fascinating that Ashley Judd campaigned to be in this movie. I mean, every time I see her, I mean, I'm fascinated by her career because, of course, like, she's the first A-list actress to go on the record about Harvey Weinstein before anyone else. I mean, his assistants and other people have, but the first one who did the story of the New York Times that changed everything. And it has been like Peter Jackson came out to say, yes, he executed an intense smear campaign. Yes, I didn't put her in Lord of the Rings because of it. And it's like, okay, it was made in 90. It's just hard to know what was going on with Ashley Judd at that time,
But she's
And then
terrific. She's terrific.
so
And the
good.
movie isn't helping either of them by not allowing them any access into the interior of these characters, by keeping them
or
by
any
keeping,
scenes together.
Yes, by keeping the
Yeah.
audience completely at a distance from their motivations and how they feel. They appear to be just flat characters, but they are both terrific actors. So you're getting so much, but you can't help but feel like, in service of what? Like, what are you trying to show me?
And that's why I think that the movie fucks with you, because you're like, what am I not getting? But now talking to all of you, we're
getting everything.
We're getting everything.
Yeah.
Joe.
Another thing I was wondering.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
I know
please.
you're like
No,
wrapping
no,
up.
no.
Like,
Like,
I was watching this movie thinking how fucking strange it was that Katie Lang was given such a big
By the
part
way, I thought
comedy
she handled
relief.
it quite well.
She did, but
Right.
all I was thinking was, what is the 2024 version of this kind of camera?
Oh,
Like,
right.
what kind of figure in, I would assume, music would be kind of like
great
a
question.
fun, like, comic relief? Like, oh, that's weird that this person's in this.
I want to
Because it
go
must
like
have been
younger.
strange.
I want to go younger than like Reba, right? But Reba's always popping
Oh.
up in something.
Like a Chapel Roan, like just.
I was
No.
gonna say Chapel
Well,
really?
it's
Roan.
like
Yeah.
it's like Action Bronson being in the Martin Scorsese movie.
Ah.
You know?
Yes.
Wasn't
I
it
thought
Martin
she handled
Scorsese
it
movie?
well.
Oh, you know
she
who
was
it would
great.
be?
Like,
It would be Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll would be. Oh man, come on!
I really want to see a movie though where like the field agent in whatever organization doesn't have this sort of banter with the tech person on the other
Oh, yeah.
end, like where it's just like a very civil, very nice relationship, like nothing contentious, not doing bits, not really
Yeah.
enjoying each other, just like a really
Well, also,
She is always
professional
asking
and-
him
yes.
for his password, even though he's on camera with his face seemingly
Why
on
does he
such a
need to
secure
be-
line.
and
She's
this
got
is
all the
real, and
information
'cause we
in front
never
of him.
find
He's
out,
on.
so I know
No
I'm
one
asking
could
a
call
question.
into her.
Why does he need to
setup.
be British? Why does he need to be a British agent operating in America? He is a Washington, D.C. based agent named I, codename I. That's
Mhm.
the codename the I. And he just operates all over America only. But
Okay.
why?
I.
What do we why? Nope.
But not limited to the continental United States. He can go
Whoa.
to
Whoa, whoa,
Alaska. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I don't, because it's like pulled back. But I also don't. I
you
literally
don't think wigs
don't know.
can be pulled back.
See, that's how
Wow.
wig blind I am.
Wow.
It's really bad.
You
Wow,
imagine that all wigs are just you have to wear the hair down.
The only wig I know is like a wig is when it's like Bride of Frankenstein. You know what I mean? Like that's when
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fake.
No,
But
we'll say in
other-
this movie there's not a pin in a single wig. A
Yeah.
wigs just sort of
They
are
just-
taken off
yep.
and thrown, and
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
like, wow, that is pretty impressive that the wigs are staying on and not.
No, they're like
the way that
Mission
they
Impossible
are.
masks. They are
Yeah.
like so sturdy and so perfect looking, and then immediately like gonzo.
Yeah, see, I just learned that you have to pin down a wig. Like that's
Yeah.
how dumb I am.
Oh, if
about
not
wigs.
glue down a wig.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think it's a hard thing to see because I want to.
Have you ever seen a Nicole Kidman movie?
yes, and I always think it's her hair, and I get
No.
ridiculed.
Joe.
I'm serious. I
Joe,
don't
come
know.
on.
Joe,
I don't.
I'm right with you. I am confused. I'm just taking it by face value. Whatever you got showing me up, I'm like, great, I buy it. Sometimes people
Don't
take off.
lump me in. I can tell what titties are though.
All right, so I
Yeah.
don't lump you into
Paul
that.
can't.
Yeah.
Again,
same.
I believe it. I don't know if I can.
You
yeah.
just accept what's
I
in
accept
front
it.
of you.
I accept
Yeah.
it. I'm also like not like I'm not like, I guess if it's like really ridiculous, I could probably figure it out. But I'm not looking too much. I'm not trying to like zoom in on it.
That's very nice.
I will
but
say
yeah.
that's one of my favorite times I've ever worked on a movie was with an actor. I'm trying to keep it very vague. Who we were sitting in our chairs and he's like, "See that?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Butt implant." And I said, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, butt implant." And I said, "Oh, wow." And then like somebody else walked by a little bit later. He's like, "And another one, butt implant." And I was like, "Oh, wow, I guess." And then another person walked by. He's like, "Butt implant." And
I
then
love this.
everyone that we saw, like it went, I would say conservatively on this movie, he saw 15 butt implants, and he would always point them
I would
out.
argue that if you really drilled down into it, the only butt implant on that set would be his.
Yes, yeah, he's just full
He's
projection.
just trying to throw you off.
Which, by the way, just a quick PSA: butt implants are the most dangerous. Like, plastic surgery. Like the amount of women who die getting butt implants, really.
or were they killed by a plastic surgeon who's trying to discover her tracks with her wig sales?
Exactly.
What I mean, I would love to know what the fuck. If somebody has read the book, give us a sense of what the
call
hell.
into last.
I wish I understood, because there's, for an erotic thriller or for something that has the markers of a erotic thriller, it is neither erotic nor particularly thrilling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no, like, it's not enough sex and not enough violence to keep you titillated in either way.
And not enough story.
No,
it's not even enough story to make me feel like I'm on the case too, or I'm uncovering clues, or
there's nothing
just
to uncover. There's no story.
And sometimes action movies kind of suck, but you can just let it wash over you just with the scenery or the production design.
Sure.
And like even that sucked ass. Like
all we had were the wigs, which
we
you
had the
didn't
wigs
even
and
know
his
they
like
were wigs.
microphone gun, and that was it.
Really confusing, genuinely confusing.
I guess the question, I feel like we can put together through context clues what we feel, but would you recommend this film?
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't, only in the sense that, like I was saying earlier, I think there are so many more movies in this space starring Ashley Judd, giving better performances from both of these people in the neo-noir style of stuff that I would watch instead, frankly, including the ones we've already mentioned, but then keep going forward. And either the movies we've done on this podcast, Jade or Sliver we talked about.
We got to talk about we got to do Sliver.
All of those movies are better versions of this than this is. I don't know.
I will say, great movie for us to talk about, and I feel like if you don't watch it, I'm surprised remembering the things like astrology in this movie. Way more fun to hear about this movie than to spend the hour and 40 minutes, which felt like 2 hours and a half. It felt so long.
Yeah, I agree. And Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Is it a wig though?
June, is it a wig?
Is this a wig?
Yeah.
Well,
Joe, your special comes out December 13th. You do a monthly show live at Largo. I mean, it's weird. Right. I can't say like, well, what's your special about? You are one of the people who make me laugh so much online, but you are a great stand-up and a fantastic writer. So just watch The Thing. It's like that.
Just watch The Thing. Yeah, like I don't even know how to describe what I like.
How do you describe what it is beyond? This is Joe, and he's great. And if you please. As I've talked to Joe about this offline, follow his Instagram because he's doing the Lord's work on finding things like that are shocking. TikToks.
I know. I really got to say, like, you mentioned all my credits earlier, and I do appreciate that. But I do think my real job is curating a truly depraved and unhinged Instagram story output. Like that's
I've never seen out there.
I've never seen anything like it, and I can only imagine. Your algorithm is so fucked in so many ways.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
It is amazing to me. All right. So Joe's special comes out on Hulu. You can, if you see him in LA, you can see him in LA. You can follow him on tour. You could do all the things. Just follow him on social media. It's going to be great. A big thank you to Joe Mande for joining us. People, How Did This Get Made is going to be in your house. That's right. Our live virtual holiday show with, of course, our holiday special person, Jessica Sinclair, is coming to you wherever you have a streaming service, a computer, whatever it is. It's our virtual live show on December 12th. You can get tickets right now by going to HDTGM.com. Tickets are cheap, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you're in the Philadelphia area, come see us in Philly, y'all. That's right. We are going to bring it back to Philly. And if you want to see Jason and I on the road, we're going to be in Boston and DC and in New York. That's right. You could see Dinosaur Improv Live. Tickets for all of these events are available at hdtgm.com. Now, most importantly, if you have a correction or omission about this movie, and God knows there's going to be a lot, please go to our Discord at discord.gg/hdtgm and tune in next week to see if we picked yours as being one of the best. You can also give me a call at 619-PAUL-ASK. please give us calls. We love calls. We will respond to all of your questions. And next week, I'm excited because we had a fascinating chat with Michael Tara Garver, who runs a studio creating large-scale immersive experiences. She worked in the Star Wars Hotel and Sleep No More, and now we're going to be talking about the future of immersive entertainment with her. So tune in next week to hear all about the things that you might have missed from Eye of the Beholder and how immersive theater actually lives. My book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma, is still available wherever you get books, audiobooks, or ebooks. If you want a book personalized for the holidays, go to my website, paulscheer.com or howdidthisgetmade.com, and you can just order one from Chevalier's. I will put whatever you want in there, except for Team Fred. And remember, when you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it really is important that you subscribe to us, okay? Leave a comment, have those automatic downloads turned on in the show settings. People, it's free, so if you do that for us, we are even. And last but not least, I got to thank our entire team for who the show could not be done without. I'm talking about our producers, Scott Sani, Molly Reynolds, and our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, and our engineer, Casey Holford, and our associate producer, Jess Cisneros. That's all I got, people. We'll see you next week on Last Looks. Bye for now.
How did this get made?